I still remember the exact sound it made, the hollow thud of plastic on concrete, as my trash can toppled over right in front of me. And when I looked up, there she was, kicking it with the side of her shoe like it was a soccer ball she owned, smirking at me as if she ran the whole street. "Pick it up or I'll call the HOA and have you fined," she shouted, loud enough for every porch and every open window in earshot. My son had just gotten home from school, his little backpack, still hanging from his shoulders, and I watched his face drop in embarrassment. That's what stung the most. Not the trash scattered across the sidewalk, not even her smug tone, but the way she seemed to enjoy humiliating me in front of my kid. That's the thing about Nancy. Yeah, I'll call her Nancy, though I could call her plenty of other names. She lived for these little public battles, those moments when she could puff herself up and make someone else feel small. And every time I told myself I'd keep calm, not give her the satisfaction of a fight. So I said quietly, "This is my property, Nancy." But she stepped closer, finger jabbing the air like a courtroom lawyer. "Not for long. People like you don't belong here. I'll make sure the HOA deals with you." The words cut deeper than she probably realized, or maybe she knew exactly what she was doing. Because when she said, "people like you," and my son heard it, I saw his hands tighten on his backpack straps. That was the third time that week she'd knocked my trash over. No accident. She knew what she was doing. She was trying to turn me into a spectacle. And if I'm being honest, my blood boiled. But instead of shouting back, I forced a smile. "Careful, Nancy," I said softly. "You never know what's watching you." She tilted her head, confused. That smirk wavered for just a second. She had no idea that the night before, I'd installed something new, something she wouldn't see coming. The very next morning, right on cue, she strutted down the street again, sunglasses on, clipboard in hand, acting like she was on some official HOA patrol, which she wasn't. She wasn't even on the board, but she liked to pretend. My son sat on the porch with his cereal, watching her. I stayed inside, coffee in hand, waiting. She stopped in front of our house, tapping her pen, pretending to take notes. Then she spotted the trash can waiting neatly at the curb. She smirked again. Same routine. She looked around to make sure. The neighbors could see, then reached for the lid and shoved it hard, ready to spill everything like she always did. But this time, click. A sharp metallic snap echoed as soon as she touched it. Nancy jumped back, startled, because the can didn't budge. She tried again, pulling harder, but the wheels locked in place. The harder she yanked, the louder the mechanism snapped. And then, right on schedule, the tiny red light blinked. She froze. She leaned closer, squinting, and that's when she saw it, a hidden camera tucked right under the rim, staring her dead in the face, and before she could react, a loud voice boomed from inside the can. "Trespassing detected. This incident is being recorded." Neighbors' curtains moved. Heads popped up from porches. My son clamped his hand over his mouth to hide his laugh. Nancy's face drained of color. "What the? This is illegal. You can't do this," she stammered, waving her arms, trying to look like she still had control. But the voice came again, calm and steady. "Property protected under state law. Violators will be reported." It was priceless, her standing there, frozen, knowing everyone was watching. She hissed at me from the sidewalk, "You think you're smart? You'll regret this. I'll have the HOA shut you down. I'll have the cops at your door." Then she stormed off, rattled, furious, but I could see it in her eyes. She knew she'd been caught. I told myself it might end there, but with Nancy, nothing ever ended there. That evening, just as the sun dropped low, she came back, angrier than ever. She marched straight up my driveway like she owned it, hammering on my front door with her fist. "Open up now!" she barked, loud enough for half the neighborhood to hear. I opened the door slowly, calm as I could be. She shoved her clipboard at me, barking, "This is an official HOA violation notice. Your trash can has illegal surveillance equipment. You're being fined $500. Pay it, or we'll have you removed." I studied the paper. It was just a Word document. No signatures, no stamps, nothing official at all. I held it up to the light and smirked. "This isn't official. You forgot something." Her jaw tightened. "Don't play dumb. I am the HOA. That's when I heard a voice behind me, my son, standing on the porch with his phone in hand. "Actually," he said loud enough for everyone nearby to hear, "you're just a liar, and now you're famous." He turned the screen so she could see her own face plastered across social media, the video of her kicking over my trash can, getting caught by the hidden camera, and yelling like a fool. Thousands of views, dozens of comments, people laughing at her. Neighbors gasped, a few chuckled. Nancy's fake authority crumbled right there on my doorstep. She tried to snatch the phone, but I stepped in front of her. "Touch my kid and you'll really regret it." My voice was steady, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. She muttered something under her breath and stormed off again. I thought that might have been the peak, but the next day, everything shifted. The neighborhood buzzed with chatter. Cars lined the street, neighbors whispered in little clusters, and right in the middle of it, Nancy strutted around like she was campaigning for mayor, pointing at my house, pretending she'd won some invisible war. And then, a black SUV rolled into the cul-de-sac. The door opened, and out stepped a tall man in a sharp suit, silver hair steady as a rock. The real HOA president, back from his trip. The crowd went quiet. Nancy's face lit up. She ran to him, waving her clipboard like a flag. "Mr. President, you're back! Finally! I've been handling everything while you were gone." The man looked at her, unimpressed. "Handling? What exactly?" She launched into her performance, jabbing her finger toward me. "This man has been violating HOA rules, installing illegal equipment, disrespecting property values. I've written multiple violations. We're ready to take legal action." Neighbors exchanged looks. The president turned his gaze to me, calm, unreadable. He walked over, paused for a long moment, then smiled warmly and extended his hand. "Good to see you again." Nancy froze. "Wait, you know him?" The president chuckled. "Know him? He's the one who helped me write half the HOA policies you pretend to enforce. He's the reason I even agreed to stay president, because I trust him more than anyone here." Her clipboard slipped from her hands, smacking the pavement. Neighbors gasped. Some laughed outright. I shook the president's hand, keeping my voice even. "She's been forging documents, harassing my kid, and making up rules that don't exist." The president's expression hardened as he turned back to Nancy. "Is that true?" Her lips trembled. She stammered. "No, they're lying. I was just keeping things in order." He cut her off. "You're not in charge here. And after this stunt, you never will be. Consider this your final warning before I press charges for impersonation and harassment." Her face burned red, but for the first time, no words came out. But I wasn't finished, because her worst humiliation was still coming. Desperate, she pointed at me again. "You don't understand. He's dangerous. He's spying on the neighborhood, recording people without permission. That's a federal crime. You have to arrest him." Silence fell. All eyes turned to me. I let the pause stretch, then slowly reached into my jacket. Nancy flinched like I was about to pull out a weapon, but when I pulled my hand free, what I held made her knees nearly buckle. My badge, not just any badge, the sheriff's badge. Gasps echoed up and down the street. My son's face lit with pride. Nancy stumbled back, her voice barely a whisper. "No, no, this can't be real." I held it high so everyone could see. "You want to talk about federal crimes, Nancy? Impersonating officials, forging notices, trespassing on private property, those are crimes. And I've got all the proof I need." The HOA president folded his arms, nodding. That explains why you were so calm every time she tried to provoke you, neighbors murmured. Nancy's last bit of bravado drained away. She tried to shake her head, tried to twist the story, but nobody was buying it. For once, the street was united, and it wasn't on her side. That night, when the dust settled and the crowd thinned out, I sat on the porch with my son. The trash can stood tall and locked at the curb, red light glowing faintly in the dark. My son leaned against me and whispered, "Dad, that was awesome." And in that moment, I realized it wasn't just about shutting Nancy down. It was about showing my kid that bullies only win when you let them. Sometimes you don't have to raise your voice. You just have to stand your ground and maybe get a little creative. Now I've got to ask you, what would you have done in my shoes? Would you have set a trap or tried to keep the peace? You think I went too far or not far enough? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you believe bullies should never get the last word, and subscribe for more real neighborhood battles. I'll be reading your stories. And trust me, I know every neighborhood has a Nancy,